Welcome to English Without Borders. Good evening, everybody. We are very happy to see all of you. And today we are having our next speaker on Thursday series of English Without Borders webinars. Today we are very happy to host Nilufar Muradova, and she will be talking about the online English teaching resources at the American space. So let me give some brief introduction about the speaker today. Nilufar Muradova is an American Space Dushanbe director and NASA Space Apps Challenge local lead. She has worked in American space since 2016, and she started as a volunteer first, and then she got promoted to as innovation director. She is also alumna of a global grad program in 2019. In addition to that, she's an alumna of OSCE Youth Communities at Central Asia Youth Network and Network by Consensus. She studied international relations in Russian-Tajik Slavonic University and political science in California State University, Bakersfield. And she has been recently included in the list of top 30 young leaders of Central Asia, according to GoViral Central Asia. Welcome, Nilufar. So happy to see you. And we are very excited to learn from your presentation about online English teaching resources that are available at the American space. Now the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much for such a great introduction, which was quite detailed. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really glad to be here today and to share some of, I think, very useful and interesting resources that are available at American Spaces Network in Tajikistan and all around the world. As Nasiba mentioned, I've been involved in American Spaces program since 2016, which is quite a long time. During this period, I had an experience of conducting, programs, teaching English, American culture. I also had a chance to manage a full program like a debate, and then I've worked here for a while. So during this long period, there are definitely a really long list of resources that I could share today with you and that could help you to improve your teaching, and especially using all the resources that are available online for free for everyone. So I'm going to go and share my screen now, so we could proceed with the presentation. Please let me know if you can see this. Okay, so first of all, obviously, I want to talk about American Spaces, because this would make much more sense. As far as I know, what we do in American Spaces are quite similar to what English Without Borders does. So before moving to the resources, I would like to give just an overview about what we do as American Spaces. So American Spaces are free and open to the public space. They have different names. They are American Spaces, American Corners, American Centers. American Spaces have effective and attractive platforms for person-to-person and now also virtual interactions on topics including media literacy, economic development, American culture, society, and values. And of course, a lot of other projects that we do to empower people to achieve their goals, economic development of the country, and so on. And American Space Dushanbe tries to strengthen mutual understanding and deepen cultural, educational, and scientific exchanges between the people of the United States, Tajikistan, and around the world. So there are 5 core programming pillars that are available online. If you will just Google it, you will have the full information about it. We try to engage alumni. These are people who have studied in the US. They did different programs, starting from teaching, finishing with science, technology. So it's a really big group of people that come to American Spaces, teach. They also use a lot of resources that they learned in the US and in other countries that they have been to. Second is our cultural programs. These include arts, sports, soft and hard skills, films, STEM, English, obviously, music, entrepreneurship, and many more. Then we have educational advising, which includes promoting US higher education, English language, and we cooperate with local education USA program. Then I guess this one is something that is very relevant to today's presentation. It's English language teaching and learning. This is a major part of American Spaces all around the world. We try to conduct a lot of programs that build the skills of English language of American Spaces regulars and teachers who come and do it. In this component, American Spaces worldwide work with a big group of people that help to facilitate and to design very interesting programming toolkits, manuals, a lot of web pages to help teachers all around the world to have very interesting activities for people who come to American Spaces. But these are not limited only for American Spaces. People, anyone in any country can access these resources because they're not closed for everybody. If you will go to web pages that I'm going to be sharing later, you will have access to all of them. So it's for all of you, no matter where you are and in which educational or any company you work. And the last one is information about the United States. This is also crucial because, again, when we talk about English language teaching, it also includes a lot about United States of America as well. So these things are really related to each other. So in this component, we try to share information about the United States to people, and through that, people also learn English, which is also very interesting. So yeah, going to the online English teaching resources, I would like to talk today about these two incredible sources that have so many things inside them. First one is American Spaces Worldwide webpage, and then eLibrary. The first one is accessible for everyone. If you have a good internet, you can go and check it. I will be showing everything inside it for online English teaching. Well, actually, it's not just online English teaching. These are resources available online that you can print, download, and use it in your in-person activities as well. And the second one is eLibrary. You can access eLibrary only in your local American Spaces because this one is a bit limited, but if you have any American space nearby, you can go there and then have an access. Or if you don't have American Space, you can find any contact information of an American Space and ask for a login so you could access all the materials that are available in eLibrary. So I would go and start with our American Spaces webpage. So this is American Space webpage. It's americanspace.state.gov. It is on Google, obviously. You just write American Spaces. And here we have a very big component, which is programming. We have thematic resources over here. Then we have programming packages here, and then planning your event program. These are all the subjects that include a lot of interesting resources. I would go and start with the programming packages, programming kits, because I found some really good resources for online English teaching. For example, when you open this programming package, you will see a lot of activity guides about 5G wireless technology, about higher education system in the US, about disinformation, about women entrepreneurship, volunteering, and many, many more. I'm going to show you how it looks like when you go to one of the toolkits. This is a toolkit about higher education in the US. This one actually can be your full class. For example, here when you open, the first page tells you what a facilitator, a teacher should do. It says you have to pass this information to the people, you have to ask these questions for 15 minutes, and then you have to watch this video. They provide you with the link, and then they say, okay, you have to print this one and share it with your students. And of course, this one has vocabulary, which means that after the class, people will know what is an academic year, what is an associate, what is a bachelor's degree, what is campus, college, and so on. So this is a full package of a toolkit about education. And as you see here, there are many more topics that you can use for your clubs. You can just print them out or download the videos if you need them. And another thing that I would like to share is English learning. This is a very big part of the Managing American Spaces resource box. Here we have several components of the content. Number one is resources that Bureau of Education and Cultural Affairs provide. Here you have American English. These are resources for teachers and students of English as a foreign language. And when you go there, you will see a lot of interesting articles about it. And in the resources and programs section, you will see what are the components: teaching the 4 skills, different webinars, other resources, English club texts and materials, comics for learning languages, and so on. English club manuals. This also includes guides to creating, managing, and facilitating English clubs. If you want, if there are English teachers that teach only English language and want to do it in a very fun and interactive way, this is a resource that you really need to check. Also for these teachers, there is a Trace Effect resource. I really love it. It's a comic book that helps students to learn English. So the task in this comic book is basically help this guy, who is Trace, go back to his time. So he's from 2045. He have lost himself in a time. So there are several stages that your students should pass to help him to be, you know, in his home. So, and these are resources under the ECA component that we have. One thing that I found very interesting is Voice of America resource, Let's Learn English. This is a very well-designed English learning lessons. All the lessons are for different levels. You can just open, for example, this one, and you can download the package. And you have a full program for English teaching. And there are a bunch of them. You can find different based on, you know, your students' level. This one has 601 pages, which means that you can just use it throughout the year. It's very interesting, and it has all the activities, what you need to prepare, how long is, you know, this question, how long is this activity, you know, your students will learn. This is actually the basic one. They will learn alphabet, they will learn letters, and so on. The next one is English in a Minute. We use this one a lot, especially on our social media. In this resource section, students will learn words, idioms, in 1 minute. They will just watch these videos that are again available. Any of them, you can download them or just put in your class. And the entire class, they can, you know, discuss this question, discuss this word, write sentences, and so on. So this English in a Minute can really make your class, your lesson very interactive. Another thing very similar to English in a Minute is Everyday Grammar. Also similar, but here they will teach you how, you know, certain phrase works, like here, right? I think so, I guess so, and stuff like that, which is also interesting. And the way these videos are made are very catchy, and when you watch them, you're not getting bored, which I think very important when you teach someone. So these are resources available on americanspaces.state.gov. You can go into all of these sections and check them more, because they have more resources than I've showed right now, because I also want to have some time to explain e-library for all of you. Here in Share America, there are some articles and everyday conversation topics as well. They include audio, which can help you to teach people who have difficulties with reading. For example, here you can learn about the music, about space, about specific American states. You can learn about the world's largest children's museum. You just open this link and then there is a specific text for you. You can share it with people. There are discussion questions that can help your audience to be engaged more in your conversation. Again, about the music, about the lakes. All the topics are really neutral, and most importantly, they help students to learn new things through English, because English is definitely not only about learning words, about making sentences, and about it's more, right? It's about learning it through geography, through music, through movies, history, and so on. So American Spaces webpage gives this opportunity for all the teachers to teach English in a very different way. And again, we were discussing only this section, which is English learning, but again, we have different resources about American history, study in the US, economic prosperity, media, culture, and technology. So all of them have vocabulary, discussion questions that you can use as well. So what I would just suggest, don't limit yourself only with like English, but use other topics and connect it to English language, and your classes would be great. And here again, we touched only programming kids because this is very interesting, I guess, for teaching. But here again, we have movie kids, where there is a short movie, there is a discussions again, and also some questions. And then after that, you can give your students a small gift as a sign of, showing them you appreciate their attention. And of course, webinars, podcasts, and other discussion guides, everything is available. I know that most of these resources require, internet. I suggest to use your local American space. You can go anytime and download everything you need beforehand for your classes, even the videos, because it's really problematic to play them inside the class. So feel free to download. There are available, platforms that can help you to download videos through the link. And those are really legal ones as well. Okay, so this is American Spaces webpage. We also here have, I guess it's this one, American Spaces live webinars. These are mostly for American Spaces stuff, but if you go there, there are several topics that can be useful for English teaching as well. Especially during pandemic, there were so many webinars about how to teach virtually using, for example, Zoom, Google Meets, and different other platforms. I'm pretty sure you can find them very interesting. And again, there are different posters as well. I'm not sure if I've showed you, but in I guess, yeah, in American English section, there are different, yeah, it's here, different posters like this, which you can just print and give your students. For example, here you can see the word pronunciation, right? Here they give you word permit, and it shows how it's written, and then gives you different sentences, right? Like the police officer is not permitting drivers to go, and stuff like that. There are so many posters that can help people to improve their English on a daily basis. So one of the things that you could do is just to print them again and just share with your students, because visually they look really great. English Teaching Forum, this is a really interesting magazine. You can access them through American Spaces webpage. We have some of the hard copies at the American Spaces as well, but I'm not sure if they are really new and fresh. But still you can access them in American Space or again online here. They have very interesting trends about teaching, about English, which is also useful. And yeah, lots of graphics. Everywhere we use graphics, they're really cool for teaching. I myself personally learned English just because I had a very different way of learning back in the time. So it's really helpful. Okay, if there is any questions about this web page, I am ready to answer, and then I can move to e-library section. Okay, the question is all the resources. Natia, yes, all the resources are for free. Those from the americanspaces.state.gov. All right, let's move to the e-library part. I want to just talk a little bit about the e-library itself. It's a very interesting resource that we use all the time in our activities. It's basically a digital collection of trusted information resources from the United States, exclusively available to American Spaces. As I mentioned in the beginning, you cannot access it, even you cannot log in because you need the permission for that. e-Library USA offers high quality newspapers, digital magazines, journals, books, dissertations, and award-winning films and videos. These resources are similar to what US universities offer their students and to their faculty as well. So it's very useful for teaching. So what does this section has is, let me go back to the screen. So e-Library has several interesting platforms that are actually required to have a subscription, but in e-Library they are for free for American Spaces. Here we have news and magazines, press reader, where you can read very popular newspaper from all around the world, including US magazines, and most of them are really new. For example, recently Forbes had 30 under 30 magazine, and I found it here. Like it's here and it was posted like 2 days ago. You can access all of them. These are US magazines, and here we have magazines from other countries, like from India, from Canada, and from other places. Most of these resources, obviously, they're checked. So any random newspaper or a magazine will not be here on a press reader. So you can trust this source and use articles from these sources for your teaching. So this one is Flipster. It mostly has US magazines like National Geographic, Entrepreneur, Popular Science, again, Forbes and others. So for this one, I need to do advanced. And yeah, we can access it. So here. So these are all type of journals for photographers, for craftsmen, for anyone. One of the interesting things about e-Library is that I know that many teachers, besides teaching, they also work on their qualification. And if you're working on any paper, you can use dissertations and articles from this e-Library as well. For our classes, the American Space, we use a lot press reader. We use Gestor, which is a database with journal articles focusing on social science, economics, history, culture, and many more. These can be helpful for you for more advanced classes. If you teach in a university, e-Library is the best source for that. When we talked about American Spaces.state.gov, that information was mostly, I guess, for the beginners, great for students in high school, but e-Library is more specific for university and for people who have a specific major But again, still here you can find interesting things. I want to show you this book Flix. I found it really interesting. We used it several times, but again, it's not for our targeted audience.
Click on a category.
It can be interesting
Or click
for
on the
other
feature
people.
to begin.
It's a very interesting web page where you can choose a story. I'm not going to touch it because it will talk. So when you open, for example, Animal and Nature, which is the first one here on screen, you will be able to read and then, or to listen a very short story. And then there are different questions that you should answer and few games. So it's a very interesting web page if you want to use it in your classes for beginners or elementary students. I really recommend this one for teaching. And the last one I want to share is Canopy. Canopy has short films. I was talking about films before, but here you can see that these are all available on eLibrary as well. We had movie screenings several times with using, again, movies from Canopy. They are, again, most of them are award-winning movies. They're all checked. You can feel free to put any of them. Topics are different. There are lots of documentaries, movies that are very famous in a pop culture, movies about specific people in a history, you know, like Martin Luther King, about Steve Jobs, and many more. And all of this also have questionnaires for discussion in a club, and then also some games for your teaching as well. So these are resources from eLibrary. Again, if you want to access it, please contact your local American space. In Dushanbe and other 7 American spaces, we have access to eLibrary, and we would be really happy to share it with all the teachers, students, anyone interested in reading magazines, dissertations, and many, many other things available on eLibrary. Yeah, that's basically it about the resources. We were talking today only about online ones. You can also check here free resources on COVID-19. I really hope you will not need them in the future, like never. But still, they have some interesting things if you want to do blended classes where half of your materials are given inside the class and half of them is online. So these things can help a lot. So yeah, that's it. I'm really glad to hear any questions if you have, and share maybe other resources that are not included in this list. These are all online, but I would be also happy to share any offline materials, information that, you know, people will be interested to know more.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nilufar. It was very informative and also so interesting to know about all the resources that are available by one click, and you can have access to them, though some of them are available through the American spaces across Tajikistan. But anyway, they are not like inaccessible. They are accessible via the American space. Yeah, thank you very much. We have a number of questions in the chat box. So the question is it possible to download the movies which you mentioned about?
From the Canopy, no. I'm not sure it's downloadable, but there are platforms that can help you to download it. But again, I would suggest to check with American Space, because first of all, you have to have an access to Canopy and then get a link from there. And again, the platform where you're downloading your video should be a legal platform. So we are really protective in terms of copyright. But yeah, there is a way that you can get that movie for your class. Maybe we have a DVD of that movie that you are searching for. So definitely check in with your local American space. But generally, Canopy is an online streaming platform where everything is available only with internet.
Thank you, Nilufar. So we have a question from Tamano Safarova. Can we have access to this from our home or classroom? So she's referring to the links which you mentioned during your presentation.
Yeah, definitely. I talked to English Without Borders team earlier that on their webpage, there will be my presentation with links and a short information about what is there. But anyway, again, you just need to know a link to eLibrary and americanspace.state.gov. You can access them from home and classroom. Only for eLibrary, you need login and password that you can request from your American space.
Okay. So next question. So in case, like, you know, in case the teachers obtain this password and, you know, access from the American spaces, so is it going to be like a permanent one, or do they need to have some kind of updates or just renew their passwords or like logins?
No, passwords, they are for American spaces only. So there is no specific timeline of when it expires and stuff like that. It's just American space access to eLibrary, and American space have, you know, right to give it to local teachers and students that really need it. What the procedure looks like is that you as a teacher or as a student will write to American space like, hey, I need eLibrary access because I'm working on this, and eLibrary has resources that are very important for me. And seeing your requests, your American space will give you access to eLibrary. In case if you will see, you know, some issues with using, although there is no issue because it's a very well protected and organized web page. Of course, we will change the password, but it's not even a case and it never happened. So eLibrary is pretty accessible for your local American space. So feel free to request it anytime you need.
Yeah.
So you will get it permanently. Like if you have access, it will be with you all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. So we have next question. Do you organize special tours for English teachers in the area to have in-person visits to American spaces and explore the resources?
We would love to have English teachers in our American space. I think one of the great ways would be organizing it with English Without Borders, since they have a very big network of teachers. This could be a really good program for EVB and for American spaces to do all together. We are always, you know, glad to have all of you, and tour, I guess, would be very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, we are very happy to see this collaboration between English Without Borders and American spaces across Tajikistan, because you know, this kind of collaboration brings new avenues and also just, you know, more interactive ways in order to engage more teachers and to give them more ideas how to use these resources. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have next questions. Okay, Camila Abdulovich is asking, what offline resources are available in American space Dushanbe for primary school teachers?
There are several textbooks that many teachers come and they just do copies of them. They have really interesting activities for practicing English conversation. So these books are available. You can take them. We also have a lot of educational games. Those games are really good for learning words, phrases, for activities in class. They can be used as part of your class. For example, you have a specific topic for today, and those cards and games can be like an addition to your class as an activity to help your participants to practice their you know, speaking and listening. So yeah, we have games, we have some books. What else? And we have also, you know, opportunity to again, give a tour if it's necessary to online resources here. We have also laptops available with access to, again, e-library and americanspace.state.gov that I mentioned. So in case if you don't have a computer in your house, you can come to American Space. We can help you with downloading PDF files and stuff like that. So these are things that we can do for you at the moment.
Yeah, that's great. And I have been using American Space resources for quite long. I even remember like 10 years ago, I used to borrow the movies and also the cartoons and watch it with my kids, with my students. That was such an exciting and also fascinating, because my students really liked it. All the movies, they had the captions, and it was able for them, to listen to these native speech, Native American speech, Native English American speech, and also to be able to see, because in many cases, many teachers, they usually they usually complain that the students really lack these listening skills, and they need some training to be able to get used to native pronunciation and native speaking. So it's kind of, I really recommend many teachers just to go and use all these resources that are available at American Space. So thank you, Nilufar, and we have a couple of more questions. So Timur Mahkamov is asking, do you have any trainings for university teachers?
We don't have any trainings for university teachers at the moment. And I guess, since I remember working at the American Space, I guess we had few projects related to this sort of a trainings. But again, English Without Borders work closely with university teachers, and I'm sure they provided a lot of trainings. So one of the ways could be training with English Without Borders, and at the same time coming to American Space for resources and combining all together for a better work. So we are not, unfortunately, planning any trainings in the future, but if something comes up, I definitely think we will announce it in our social media accounts, and you can participate.
Yeah, so Timur, please stay tuned on English Without Borders, because we'll be planning some more activities in January. And of course, like, you can see our plan of activities and then later join them, because we are going to do them not only in Dushanbe, but also just, in other cities of Tajikistan where our regional representatives are located. Thank you very much. We have more questions from the audience. Fatima Mamadaliva is asking, can I bring my 8th graders to any tour to ASD? What is available for them there?
So in American Space Dushanbe, we have age limitation, which is 14 and above. If your children, they are 14 and above, they can participate in all American Space Dushanbe activities. We have some activities in our makerspace, which is an innovation area. We have a lab. There is robotics, programming for like children of like 10, 11, 12 years old, but that's everything we have for younger kids. The rest of the clubs are for 14 plus. So I don't quite know what's the age of 8th graders. So if there are 14 plus, everything that we do is for people 14 about, so they can come. Unfortunately, we have few, again, clubs for younger age, but we will try to have more in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. Thank you. Next question. Do you lend the educational games to schools?
Do we what, sorry?
Lend. Do you give out like educational games to schools for use?
Yes, we do. Again, we should have a specific request showing that what's the main reason. We can borrow it, and usually it's like 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you need to just bring it back to American Space. In cases when your program is for a month, we can obviously give it for a month. So it really depends on your request. and the goals of using them in the future, because we want resources to be available for everyone. That's why we always ask for goals and aims of their usage. But yeah, definitely there is an opportunity to take some of the games for your clubs. And we can do it together. I'm sure our interns and volunteers would be also happy to visit your school, your university, and to share some of American Spaces activities that can help us, to connect more.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah, just some more information, like, American Space is always available, just not to stay static, but rather be mobile and go to different locations where the teachers or the students can request, to have some joint activities with American Space. And besides, like, there are native speakers who are also working at American Space Dushanbe, and who would be willing to go and to have some discussion clubs or like some other activities at schools with teachers and students, because this is a great opportunity for the students and teachers to interact with native speakers who are quite friendly and can organize some really great activities at school levels, and also just provide some more information as native speakers, and also just have more collaboration with the schools. Yeah, thank you very much. And also we have a couple of more questions that are related to American Space as well. Nilufar, what are your recommendations for English learners who want to improve their speaking, public speaking skills?
Just come to American Space. That's what I would say.
Yeah, okay.
But to be more specific, definitely, I would suggest. By the way, today one of our American Spaces, I think American Space Harm, they had a short video with our English teaching assistants from America. They had exactly same video about some tips and recommendation for improving your English language. So I really support what they say. They mentioned that, first of all, you need to try to watch a lot of English videos with subtitles. As Siba mentioned, it's really helpful because you improve your listening and then you read it, so you know how it's written. You also need to just be in an environment where people speak English. This is American Space, because you will be kind of forced in a really good way to speak English, although even if your English is not as good as you want to, but all the time you can come and try to speak. People are really welcoming and friendly. They always help you to learn new words. Another thing I would say, again, try to have a lot of English words around you in your house. I know many of my friends, they just write words every day. They just stick it on their wall and just look at it all the time. This can help you just, without even noticing, to improve your English all the time. Just try to be surrounded by English language and English words. It's really helpful. There are many people who try to learn English by going to educational centers, but it does not have as better effect as you just be in an environment of English speaking people. Like places like English Without Borders, right? American Space Dushanbe, they have native speakers. It's a whole different experience when you talk to them. So try to find communities where people have same goals as you, which is learning English, and you will be surrounded by English language. I don't see any other options, because again, we communicate with people who want to improve their English. That's how I learned English. I never went to educational center. I never learned English with like ABCD and past perfect, present perfect. It was all about just conversation with native speakers since I was, I guess, 12 years old. So this is really helpful. And try to listen audiobooks, podcasts, if you have access to any of those resources. And regarding public speaking, again, any community which has debate, public speaking, discussion, anything that help you to share your opinion and where you will feel safe, not insecure about your public speaking skills, this will be helpful, because you cannot improve your skills if you feel insecure in a community which does not want you to improve, right? So try to find your community. There are many organizations that provide public speaking skills programs, including American Space as well. So these are my suggestions.
Yeah, excellent. So thank you, Nilufar. We have more questions. Is it possible to print those worksheets in ASD? I work in the learning center, and I guess, like, you know, Karamatuloni method wants to come to print those worksheets in ASD by using the resources that are available at American Space, Dushanbe.
Yes, sure. If you are talking about the e-library and American Space resources, yes, definitely. You can come and again, tell us what kind of resources you need. If you need to print them out, or if you need any other games, we will try to help you to find. Again, we don't have unlimited resources for everyone. We might not provide you with everything you need for like 6 months, but we can at least help you to have something for a month of your activities. Again, as I mentioned before, we try to, you know, give access to many people as possible. That's why we try to make sure that it's happening for everybody. So definitely, please check your local American Space.
Okay, thank you. So next question. Do you provide volunteering services to schools for how to conduct clubs or extracurricular activities?
We don't do specifically this one. We, again, as Apai Nasiba mentioned, we do some joint programs with schools, universities, and other organizations. Mostly it's just about sharing our, you know, activities, trying to help their participants by providing them some interesting, you know, activities. But we don't have specific, like, a program on how to conduct clubs or extracurricular activities. And again, I think this is something that refers mostly to English Without Borders. What we can do is, again, give access to resources, but the facilitation is something that we haven't done, I guess, so far. But again, if something like that will pop up, we will definitely share it through English Without Borders network, so it could reach you and you could join us.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a couple of more questions, but they are related to American Space internships. So a couple of people are very willing to know more about the internships that are available at American Space Dushanbe, and what is the cycle and what is the procedure. So this is also helpful.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really happy to share information about our internship program. So our internship program is for 6 months only. It's, again, a selective process. We announce the call for everybody, people apply, and then we choose several group of people for an interview, and then they start their work in 3 sections of the American Space. That was before. Right now we don't have a specific sections, we just have a specific projects that people will work on. It's like a work, but it's an internship. So 6 months will be included to a working experience of people, because they do 10 hours of work, 15 hours of work per week. So the cycle usually starts in spring, and it finishes again by September. We already had our cycle. We started working with the new interns. If you really want to join our team, we can give opportunity of being a volunteer. And then if you will have a really good performance, there is a chance that you can get an internship at the American Space. One thing that I want to highlight is that we don't treat our interns in a different way comparing to our volunteers. The only difference is that volunteers did not catch the cycle, so they could not join us during the application process, but since they have a really huge motivation to join American Space team, they work with us as a volunteers for a while, but we treat them all the same. They join our meetings. We have team buildings all together. So we are a big family, all of us. So yeah, this is about it. Right now, we don't unfortunately accept interns. But if you are interested in working with American Space, just come talk to us. We will try to figure out ways of partnership with you, because we're always open. It's not just about 6 months and then nobody joins the team. Definitely not. We are welcoming and we really looking forward to have a very brilliant people in our team. I would say something, it's like an inside information. I'm really looking forward, interesting people who have really good media and digital skills. If you are good in working with motion design, with graphic design, and anything similar to that, please come because these are slots that are available again in the volunteering and internship position in the American Space. So this is what I can say for now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing, Nilufar. So some of audience, some people are asking, so does the internship give any recommendation letter or certificates, or what kind of privileges does it have?
Yeah, we provide with certificate and also with recommendation letter. We provide like a recommendation letter in case if you apply to any program, university, or a job position. American Space staff person who was supervising you during your internship will be your reference person in case if you will apply to any job. So yeah, these things are obviously available. We are always supportive and we always support our volunteers and interns in any career and academic decision they make. So yeah, we have these things.
Okay, good. So next question. Let me just scroll down. Okay, so yeah. Are there any plans to open more American spaces in remote areas?
I honestly don't have this information. I can say yes or no because this is something that I've never thought. My supervisor from the embassy would be a really good focal point to answer to this question. One information that I can give is that we are going to have American Spaces programs in Baghdad. Starting from January, we will have debate, public speaking, again, soft skills and hard skills. So if you are living in Baghdad or a very close area to that region, you can join our activities. We don't have a physical space, but our activities will be there. We have a very big and interesting project for Baghdad. We call it American Space Extension to Baghdad, which means that if there is no physical American space, there are American space activities. Unfortunately, it's only for Baghdad now, and hopefully in the future, our activities will be more in other spaces.
Yeah, so great. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Nilufar. So just my question would be, could you also give some more information about what is volunteering and what kind of benefits does it have? Because to so many people, like volunteering, it means working without any payment, and it's just wasting of time or something like that. But I know that you have lots of volunteers at American Space across Tajikistan, and of course, you have success stories, and you can also some cases to share. That would be great to tell people more about the benefits and advantages and also journeys that volunteers entails with itself. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Sure. I think I will say something and people might not take it really serious, but because I am saying this, but I have to mention it that in my opinion, American Spaces Network has a very strong volunteering program, because the way we again treat people that work with us is really special. This could help us to have so many success stories that we have. For example, starting with me, right? I started volunteering in American Space in 2016, and I had only university life and then American Space. And right now, all the, again, awards, success that I have is just because once I was here at the American Space, they gave me opportunity, you know, to improve my skills, to help my community, and it helped me to become who am I, right? And there are so many people who also did the same. For example, we have right now several volunteers working as a head of departments in a local big companies. We have a lot of volunteers working in other countries. I guess around 70% of American space volunteers, they work in a really high position outside the country. They are leaders of opinion. They're just good in what they do, just because once they got all necessary skills at the American Space. And yesterday we had our graduation ceremony, and it was also a great proof of how people appreciate their time at the American Space. So yeah, there are lots of success stories. Most of like the winners and alumna of many USG programs are American space volunteers. Again, why? Because they are familiar, because they contribute a lot to the development of the country. They do a lot of community service. I know that it's for free, but at the same time, it helps you to build yourself. For example, again, I know many of my friends back in the time, they would not have an opportunity to find a place to do their project, to find a financial support. But as American Space volunteer, you have a space, so you don't have to pay for a space. You have resources, you have support of your supervisors, and all you need to do is just to implement your project. That's what happened to many of my friends who did art projects, coding projects, and right now they're really successful in their area. So about benefits, I would say that you do more for your community, and there is a payback, because when you do more, there is a more chances that you will get other opportunities like USG programs, you will travel a lot. Second, you can implement your own projects by having free resources and having a support. And the last one is just spending your time with a really great community that lifts you up and supports you in any case. Many of our volunteers, their best friends are people that they had volunteering with. And for many years, they just friends all together. So it's just a lifelong experience that helps you to have the right people around you. So that's why I think American space programming in terms of volunteering is really great. And this is the reason why many people really try to join the team. But again, unfortunately, it's very limited, but we would be really happy to have more spots for people who can join us in the future. So yeah, it's for free, but it's worthy because it's going to give you more in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much. Also just we can read in the chat box so many wonderful feedback. So Julia Alat is saying a wonderful reminder of English resources. Parvina Rizova is saying like, thank you for the important information. And Parvina Yakuba is saying, great webinar. You are an absolute motivator, Nilufar. So congratulations. Yeah, thank you very much. And I guess like, you know, lots of people will be able to see this webinar because we understand that, you know, some people are busy, some people will be just later available to see this webinar. And of course, like we'll be sharing all these resources on our website once Nilufar will share those recorded with us. Those links with us as well. So yeah, please don't miss this opportunity to use all this treasure that are available all around us. Just grab and use them and just grow both personally and professionally. It's kind of a good advantage for so many people to have all the resources available in one place, and which is completely free. So thank you, Nilufar, and thank you, dear audience, for your active participation and using this moment. I would like to say and to wish all of you to have a good evening, and please stay tuned on us and also on American Space Dushanbe, because for Christmas period they are having really great activities, as well as we do. Yeah, and thank you very much, everybody. Have a great evening and see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.